Here I am back in the pantry. Don't mind the scruffiness. It's about 1 o'clock in the morning. This is really the only time that I can do this. So I just finished working out and took a shower and was inspired to do this because I've decided that this tab for Musings of a Man will be a combination of vlogs and written blogs. So whatever I guess inspires me, but I think more importantly, I've been trying to figure out a way besides just writing little notes, because that's one of the things I had written before in one of my blogs, is that when I get an idea, I take notepads and I write all these little notes and I leave them all over my desk. So my desk is full of these sticky pads. But for this purpose and for what I'm trying to do, this will also serve as a great way for me to go back and also mark a specific time. Today is December 11, the beginning of December 11, 2012, and I can look this way as well. But first of all, I want to say thank you for everyone who's been visiting my website most recently. I started it back in June, but I had not really nurtured it until most recently. And of course, let a few people know, and also I think with my experience on YouTube as well, people maybe have been searching for me. And so, from June to roughly about a week ago, I just had a handful of people coming to visit every once in a while. And I'm a statistics kind of guy, but today, thank you very much for everybody who responded or acted on my emails and my YouTube video that I posted a few days ago. I actually got over 200 visits today, so I'm very happy. That's great, and hopefully people will continue to come back and see my latest posts like this one. And like I said, will do a combination of writing and vlogs, because I think the vlogs are much easier. Actually, it's the way that I think I can express myself more freely, more easily, and more quickly. So the reason why I was inspired tonight is that this one's titled Let Them Be Children. And sometimes I have 3 children, for those of you who don't know, 10, 9, and 8. And both my wife and I set very high standards for them. As parents, I'm sure those of you out there are doing yourselves. And sometimes I forget that they're children. And with all the activities and responsibilities and homework, especially with growing children, for the young parents who are new and have toddlers or younger, it's everything is, well, what am I saying? It's always all brand new. There's nothing redundant about raising children, except for when you have to remind them 3,000 times to do the same thing over again, like put their underwear in the laundry. But outside of those details, I forget that as they grow up, because I have children that are starting to understand what responsibilities are, the consequences for good and bad choices, and their effects on each other, themselves, their parents, basically everyone around them, and the consequences that come by their actions. And sometimes, as parents, it can be a little hard. I have incredibly high standards for my children, but I always temper my admonishments and my lectures with compassion. Everything always has to be tempered by compassion. But even so, I think something struck me today, because my children are starting to show signs and express themselves in ways they never have before. And with that also, they're opening up themselves to new emotions, both good and bad. And that's what this is mostly about for this particular vlog, is the negative emotions. Because as wonderful as the children are, and as hardworking as they are, sometimes when they get involved with all these different activities, it can be overwhelming. And I think as a parent, I forget that they are learning so much at this stage. Well, I guess we all are. It's hard to generalize, but it just seems like with these formative years, they're definitely exposed to so many new things. And I always encourage my children to talk to either myself or mom, so that we know what they're feeling and that we can help. And this evening, Ever was really having a difficult time, as my oldest child, 10 years old, just being overwhelmed by all the activities that he has to accomplish, these goals that have been set for him in all different parts of his life. And I was listening the whole time and trying not to say a word so that I could understand exactly what was troubling him. He had left his door open at the end of the evening, after we had said goodnight, after we had said our prayers, his family, and said goodnight. And he was, in a hard place. And he had opened his door again to let us know that he needed to speak to one of us. So I walked in there, closed the door behind me, and sat down and asked him how he was doing. It took him a little while to open up, but he did. And in listening to him talk, I just had this thought repeating itself in my head, to basically let them be children and not forget that. Obviously, had to push them and encourage them and nurture them and do all the things a parent should. But there's also a need for downtime, and I think he's overdue. All our children, and with Christmas break coming up, I think it's a good time. But I just wanted to make a special note of this evening, because getting caught up in all the daily routines between the hurried morning and all of the preparations for making sure the homework's in place, the lunches are made, their instruments are ready to go, their chores are done, the dishes are put away, have breakfast, get their coats, get ready to go in the vehicle, get to the bus stop on time, and then come home, so forth and so forth, homework, piano lessons, the whole shebang, before everything finally slows down about 8 o'clock in the evening, and it's time to get ready for bed. And that's what my wife and I were talking about just this evening as well, after I had this conversation or a listening session with my oldest son, that I had recommended to my wife that as younger children, it was important for them to go to sleep at a certain time. We'd always set this rule 8:30, just to get them prepared for the next day, having enough sleep, because children need more sleep. But now, again, as life continually evolves, have to remember not to be set in our ways and to just rely on routine, and never forget to grow and adapt to the growing needs of everyone around us. So what we're going to do now is that encourage them to work as a team so that they can get their work done and everybody is able to be on equal footing so that not one child is finished ahead of the others and gets to play the video games or watch videos or play games while the others are still trying to finish their homework and end up ultimately getting distracted. So because of that, having them work as a team and extend the bedtime so that they can get their chores done, get their responsibilities done, and then take half an hour, 45 minutes, maybe even an hour, just for some downtime at the end of the evening with whatever activities they want to do. And that includes playing games as a family. And that's what's really amazing, that our children want to include us as well in their downtime, which is great. So, anyway, had to get this on tape. You have to make sure that I can review this myself and to remember to let them be children.